Japan seems like a dream destination, right? The food is delicious, the cities are safe, the trains run on time, the service is polite, and the culture and history run deep. And you might wonder why your own country doesn't have all of this. Some people even consider moving here. However, some types of people simply won't enjoy traveling to Japan. Based on my husband and my own experiences, we have compiled the red flag characteristics and their solutions for those planning a trip to Japan. Hi everyone, it's Abby from Pictour, and let's get into it. The first red flag is having someone in your group who was forced to come to Japan or has no say in the plans. A good example would be a group of teenagers dragged along by their parents. That is a risky combination. Especially if you're bringing kids, involve them in the planning from the start. Let them take the lead for a day or two, and that alone can dramatically change the experience. As a parent, you might feel like you're spending precious vacation time and significant money to bring your family to Japan, but your kids might feel like their precious summer break, a few valuable weeks of their youth, has been forcibly taken away. They might have wanted to hang out with friends or just stay at home and play Roblox. And you might think, how ungrateful. But forcing your children's adolescence to revolve around a Japan trip you decided on your own might be kind of an indulgence. So be careful what you say, because I have seen it and heard it all before. And this isn't even to your teenagers. This could be to anybody in your group. What's with that attitude? I spent thousands of dollars bringing you here, so at least try to look like you're having fun. Say that, and for the rest of the trip, the teenagers will keep their heads down and their earbuds in the entire time, or you will end up arguing with everybody in your group, and really nobody will have a good time. So communicate and include everyone in the planning. Another problem is when all the planning falls on one person. That burden is too heavy. Dumping all the planning on someone without discussion and then complaining during the trip, that's not about Japan anymore. It's about how to travel, and it's about basic human decency. If you dumped the planning on someone, you have no right to complain, and vice versa. If you get dumped with the planning, you want to make sure that no one else is going to end up complaining. So first, take time to align on what kind of trip everyone wants. Slow-paced, full of attractions, artistic, hands-on experiences, famous spots. Don't accept whatever is fine. Whatever really means I don't want to decide, so choose something I'll enjoy. Each person in your group should take responsibility for researching and discussing, even just a little bit. And I promise that will end up with everyone having a better experience. The second red flag is people who never walk in their daily lives. So people with injuries or with disabilities are more likely to prepare or consider alternatives, like wheelchairs, but sedentary people often default to walking without thinking about it. So traveling in Japan involves far more walking than you might imagine. Train transfers, station corridors, tourist sites, stairs, temples, and shrine grounds. And then while jet lagged, you'll be doing this 10 to 30,000 steps a day even. Think of it as going on a hike every single day for a week. It's easy to see how tough this would be for someone who barely walks. Suddenly doing over 10,000 steps a day for a week straight in Japan is brutal. So start building a walking habit 2 to 3 months before your trip. Plan an itinerary that matches your fitness level as well. Don't walk when you don't have to as well. Fun fact, most of the time, you don't have to walk. You can take a taxi almost everywhere, with the exception of course, the taxi cannot enter the shrines or the temples or the malls. But plan ahead, figure out where walking is truly needed, and prepare yourself. This will significantly reduce how exhausting the trip will feel. The third red flag is people with many dietary restrictions. So there are people with various restrictions due to allergies, religion, gluten-free diets, vegetarianism, and so on. And when that's the case, traveling in Japan will inevitably become difficult. Japanese restaurants tend to be specialized in this rather than we have everything. And then Western restaurants are often places to enjoy the atmosphere as a group. So they have lots of options and they're able to accommodate any kind of requests you might have to change the food on the menu. But in Japan, that role belongs to maybe izakayas or high-end restaurants. Pretty much every restaurant you're going to find normally or through Google reviews are basically specialty shops. This is a place where you can enjoy this specific dish. If a shop advertises, "We are a tonkotsu ramen shop," And then you walk in and say, I can't eat pork, please leave it out, and make the noodles gluten-free. They are not going to laugh in your face because they are polite Japanese people, but they're going to think, why are you here? It's like going to the Harry Potter section at Universal Studios and saying, I hate Harry Potter, do something about it. Why are you there? Okay? And of course, health issues like allergies are widely recognized, but Japan's long history includes periods of famine and war. Buddhist culture has instilled a subconscious sense that eating is an act of receiving life. So there is a deep-rooted belief that being able to eat is happiness, and being picky is a luxury. For the same reason, people are very, very, very sensitive about food waste. Some ryokans in Kyoto have removed kaiseki cuisine from their menus completely because foreign tourists were leaving too much uneaten when it didn't suit their taste. That said, over 7 days, that is 14 to 21 meals. And if every single meal has to accommodate different restrictions, stress is going to build up easily. So it's very unfortunate, but it is true to say that the dietary restrictions will end up often being an inconvenience to others. So what you're going to do to avoid having these inconveniences is to research compatible restaurants in advance. Make reservations if you have to. Always have multiple options. Make good use of convenience stores and supermarkets. And make sure everyone gets a chance to eat what they want to eat at some point, because that's only fair. I myself, historically, have had dietary restrictions that made it a little bit inconvenient, to say the least, for some of my friends or family members. And so this is not me coming to you out of a place of judgment or a place of hatred at all. This is me coming to you at a place of, this is a situation and you need to consider it beforehand. And I will say, if you are the one watching this video and you're the one with some dietary restrictions, I'm saying this with love. It is your responsibility to plan for yourself and make sure that you can enjoy your trip and everyone else can enjoy it as well. And I will say, if you have a lot of dietary restrictions, don't place the entire weight of the enjoyment of your trip on just food. Think about other things you can enjoy as well, so each meal isn't such a big ordeal. I promise it is possible. There's lots of vegan restaurants, gluten-free restaurants, halal restaurants now in Japan, especially in big cities. You won't find them in small cities, but Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka. So you do have options. Just plan beforehand. The fourth red flag is a condescending attitude coming to Japan to judge it. So a trip to Japan is not a job interview or an evaluation. Yet some people arrive with a critical mindset, ready to evaluate everything, even if they're not planning on moving here. These types of people view things through a deficit lens, constantly thinking, well, it doesn't have this, or it doesn't have that, or it doesn't do this like it does back home, making it really hard to enjoy the trip. It's great to love life in your home country, but traveling abroad means experiencing a different country and culture. And nothing is more absurd than taking time off work to travel with a bias or something like Japan is overrated. So what can we do to avoid this mindset? If you might have someone like this in your group, or you might be this kind of person, pack your itinerary with hands-on experiences. Make it as immersive as possible. Create situations where people can feel, I experienced this and I also was able to find so much depth in what I was doing. And when you experience things, think about that depth. When you go to shrines and temples, think about what is behind all of this in the first place. And try to avoid drawing maybe superficial conclusions from just surface level observations. The buildings aren't as modern as back home here, or why don't they have central heating everywhere, or why can't people here speak English? Lifestyle judgments like people here work too much, or everything closes too early. Put these immersive hands-on experiences into your itinerary. Learn what you're doing when you're going around. Find the depth beyond the surface, and break this pattern of superficial conclusions. There are always answers to your questions. Those answers just probably aren't based on your own life experience. So take this as a chance to learn about a new culture's experiences. The final red flag, which I see often, is people who decide where to go based on social media. These are people who might see a TikTok, beautiful footage of a location, and they make that location their trip's top priority. And they do this repeatedly. Every city you have, wow, I saw this TikTok, I have to go to this place. And you end up going on a basically like photographer's business trip. So most of these photos, these TikToks, these videos, whatever, you're gonna see on social media are either taken in like remote locations where there's no one around, or maybe at dawn in moments when there's no people in perfect weather, at miraculous timing, using optimal equipment. And then on top of that, it's edited, it's photoshopped. I promise, when you see these just absolute breathtaking, unworldly photos or videos, yes, they exist. But is that the experience you're gonna have at every single one of these places? No, it's not. So trying to go around and recreate these somehow on a short trip without research or not being some kind of like marketing professional with experience is a pretty high stakes gamble, and maybe not one that I would recommend taking up. So a piece of advice I have before you maybe go out of your way to see some location that you saw that's remote and looks like this absolute, like, insane anime countryside location, or just before you really go anywhere, because this is what I like to do, check the photos on Google Maps. These are unedited photos posted by completely regular people. This will give you the real scenery, the real ambiance, and it will help you reduce that gap between expectation and reality. In my videos, I also try to intentionally avoid this sort of overly beautiful editing, dramatic expressions of these places, because although many of these places in Japan, big shrines, big temples, castles, these places are beautiful and they are amazing and they are breathtaking, and some of them really have just changed my perception of how I see things in the world. Sometimes you will go there and there will be what seems like a million people there, or you will go and there will be a typhoon coming through, or you will go and you just are in a grumpy mood and you don't like, whatever. So sometimes when you visit these places in Japan, you will have to experience that beauty with the expectation that this is real life. And once you can do that, things become so much better. When I go to Kiyomizu Temple, I know there's gonna be people there, but I remind myself, people have been going there for centuries because it's an amazing, beautiful, historic location. That's the point. And so when I go, I'm like, wow, this is stunning. How many people have come here to appreciate this over time? I mean, a number beyond what I could comprehend. And I just think that makes it extra special. So that's my take. I hope this video gave you some food for thoughts about your trip to Japan. Make sure you check out our blog. We have so much information about like whatever you could possibly need to know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.